What is going on, everybody? Oh, man, I'm so hyped for this show. Been looking forward to this all week, especially after I had technical difficulties on Wednesday. We have Raj in here, the great Raj from RSF 49ers. Thank you for coming through, Raj. I appreciate it. Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better, man. I'm doing good. Yeah, it's been a long month, but I'm happy to be here. I mean, we've been trying to set up another show for a while now, but so I'm glad to be back, man.
I appreciate it. And you have a channel back too, which is kind of an important thing too.
Kind of important to do.
Yeah, just a little bit. We have Beto from Niner Sickness Podcast, my co-host, and Wolf from Niner Gang Wolfcast, my other co-host for Fridays. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. I'm hyped up for tomorrow.
I'm super hyped up for tomorrow. I'm confident.
I'm all fired up.
What was that? Somebody have a...
Go.
Oh, somebody got a soundboard. Oh, God. So,
don't piss me off.
I think the main story of this thing that really gets me is the storied rivalry between the Niners and the Seahawks. You know, mainly the last, past decade or so. It wasn't really much of a rivalry before that. And it's been a while since we faced them in the playoffs. I think we're going back to 2014, possibly. So this is a totally different Niners team. This is a totally different Seattle Seahawks team, but it still remains. We hate the Seahawks. The Seahawks hate us. I'm going to start with Raj. What's your excitement level for tomorrow? What's it like going against the Seahawks again? Are you hyped? Are you angry? Are you vengeful against the Seahawks because of what they did to us in the past? Or are you just totally focused on this team tomorrow and the 2022 49ers?
I mean, I think all the emotions are going through. My hype level is probably like 1,000 out of 10. I'm just juiced. It's finally playoff. I wish the game was like right now. I'm super excited. I've been antsy all week. I want this damn game to start. We're the first playoff game, so we don't have to wait too much longer. I mean, I wish it would have been a Sunday game, but it is what it is. Yeah, 100%. Like this rivalry has been crazy, for a long time. I mean, going back to the Harbaugh era. You remember Navarro Bowman? They were throwing the popcorn after he got carted off. He got injured. Like, that was disgusting. Richard Sherman, that's why you try me with the sorry receiver. Like that whole moment escalated, and just through the years, man, the Seahawks were always, our public enemy number one. They always got the best of us. This year we swept them, and it felt so good when they traded Russell Wilson. It was like, thank God we got rid of that bum. And I'm excited. That definitely still lingers in my mind. We haven't played them in a playoff game since those days. But it is a different era, and it's a different team. And now the Niners are the best team, and they're the team that should be winning. And it's just like this. It's a different culture. The Seahawks, we talked about this before. They're kind of coming in with no pressure. They got, a loose feeling, like we said. And it's kind of like they got nothing to lose, the Seahawks. And they know all the pressure's on the Niners. We got 10 games in a row that they've won. There's a lot of pressure on the Niners. But I'm so focused on this 2023 playoff run. Because we got 4 games left, hopefully, to get that 6th trophy. And, I was talking to Eric Davis last night. He said something that I was like, damn, that makes a lot of sense. He said the Seahawks are in our way. They're standing in our way. We got to push them out of the way, break the lights.
Like that.
Next game. Get to the next game. I'm hyped up, man.
TKO.
Let's go.
Can I ask you, we talked off stream that I was watching another stream before this stream. We mentioned that Mike from Nothing But Niners had mentioned Seahawks are really relaxed. They're coming into this game. Do they know something? Are the Niners taking it for granted kind of feeling? I feel like we're going to kill them. But then there's another part of me is like, man, the Niners have all the pressure on them and Seattle has 0. So for the Niners to come out flat and start slow would be really worrying. And if Seattle gets a little bit of confidence in this game, how playoff games go, Raj. It's like, they're 1-game seasons, and all of a sudden, some scrub team that has no business beating you, if you let them stick around, and sometimes it happens. So,
yeah, we won 10 in a row, but if we lose this game tomorrow, none of it matters.
None of it
matters. At home on the count. So you're right, there is pressure, but I think again, Pete Carroll led team. He knows the Niners. He's played us for many years. Like, he's gonna bring this team. They're gonna compete. It'll be close in the first half, I think, but I feel like the Niners are just too good, too talented. Seattle has to travel. The weather's going to be a factor. The Niner fans are going to be crazy. So I think with everything going, I think the Niners pull away. And it's just, we talked about this too. The 49ers are so strong and they're so conditioned. It's hard to outlast them in the game. Like 4 quarters, you can't beat a team like the Niners that many times. Maybe in 2 quarters, 3 quarters, you'll get the better of them. But to survive a game against the Niners, they get stronger as the game goes on.
I agree.
So conditioned. So I got the Niners winning this, but I think it'll be closer as the game starts. So that's my take on it.
I'm gonna go to Beto because I know Beto is all like, we're gonna kill these cats. They're garbage. They're scrubs. So I'm just gonna just get it out of the way because I already know what Beto's gonna say, but I'm gonna ask him anyways. Beto, what's your mindset on the game tomorrow?
All I can say, bro, is in 8 quarters, the Seattle Seahawks only scored 13 points against this defense. So I don't expect a lot of scoring from their offensive, even especially with the weather. The weather is going to force both teams to run the ball more. They're a type of team that likes to throw that deep play to DK or Tyler Lockett. If the weather is going to be a problem tomorrow, I see both teams running, but we have the number 1 defense against the run. So we will force them to throw the ball. I don't think their defense will do the same for us. We will be able to run down their throats, and they're not going to be able to stop it as much as we're going to be able to stop their run. So I am comfortable. The weather is a factor, so that it might be close because of the weather, but I still say we win by double digits. This Niner team is just way too good. Like I said, 13 points in 8 quarters in the first 2 games that we played against them. That game in Seattle wasn't not indicative of the score wasn't what it really was. We put the pressure on them. They got a late touchdown that we kind of gave up in garbage time. And don't forget, Jordan Mason broke that long run that if they wanted to punch it in, that would have been another 7 points. Then that interception by Lenore that was called back because supposedly it was a pass roughing the passer, which we all know, even Seattle fans knew it wasn't. So I expect a total domination in this game. I am not worried about the Seahawks. This is not just me being a fan and rah-rah. This is based on film, based on what I've seen and matchups. This team is just way too good. The only team they can hurt is themselves. So if they come and do their type of football, they'll be fine.
Before I get to Wolf, I want to just read this real quick. This is a good omen, I guess, even though I don't really believe in omens. It seems like a good omen. Rain Tom Ocean, who's a long supporter of the channel, says, my son just turned 3. The 49ers won the Super Bowl when I was 3. Ring number 6 for my son. Well, I hope that's the case, man.
Let's go.
Listen, my nephew was born in 1995, the summer of 95. And they haven't won a Super Bowl since the year my nephew was born. My nephew turns, 28 this year? Can we get this ring, please, in his lifetime? It's been a long time. Wolf, man, what's Seahawks rivalry, Niners being great this year, like any redemption for the past? What's your mindset? What are you hanging on tomorrow as your kind of thing mentally going into the game?
I mean, you're right, man. Can I just say what these guys said and pass? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
but no, really, basically everything that they said, man. I mean, all the flashbacks with Navarro Bowman, Richard Sherman, all that kind of stuff, irritating Russell Wilson. It all irks the hell out of you, and then it's just a bandwagon franchise, I swear, man. All of a sudden, Russell Wilson gets there, and they get the Legion of Boom, and all of a sudden their fans are everywhere. I don't understand where that came from. Uh-oh. What the hell was that?
Everybody's got stuff falling apart tonight.
I know, right? What the heck? The spirits are running around tonight. But yeah, man. Like Beto was saying, there's no reason we shouldn't dominate. I'm excited, man. I feel like the 49ers in these past couple games have been pacing themselves and really had their mindset for staying healthy for the playoffs. And I can't wait to see with Debo, CMC, Brock Purdy all in tandem together with Elijah Mitchell and the full potential of the offense going ham in the playoffs, man. So I'm super pumped up about it. And we get to wave the Seahawks around like a rag doll, I think. Little worried about the weather. We'll see how it goes. I think Brock Purdy's way more dynamic, so that gives me some confidence and just hold on to the ball. And as far as defense, punch that shit out, man. Get turnovers.
This game is looking like a 49ers type game. I mean, the last time we really played in the rain in Chicago, it didn't fare well for us. But I think this team, compared to the team in week 1, is vastly superior on many fronts. Like Roger's saying, this might be close early, but I think the Niners just find a way, because playoff games, I don't know if you guys, I mean, unless you just are straight up way better than another team, playoff games seem to have a little bit of a feeling out period in the beginning where teams are not really trying to do a whole hell of a lot. And then once you get a feel on what people are running defensively or offensively, then you really start to see things kind of spiral either downward or, upward, where a team just straight, fleeces another team and beats their ass. So I do think the Niners win. I just always go in with trepidation just because the playoffs are a one and done scenario, and as good as you can be, weird things happen. I just don't think those weird things are going to happen tomorrow. I think you just have to have perspective.
Hope not.
I know, you just have to have perspective when you watch playoffs. You can't just totally be fanboy and be like, no, there's no chance we can lose. I mean, there's always a chance. I mean, go
Any
back to the
Saturday.
Yeah, think about the playoffs when the Bills were down 35-3 and they came back to win against the Houston Oilers in 1993. Greatest comeback in NFL history up until this year. Anything can happen in the playoffs. No game is safe. If Kyle and we have the lead, we have to freaking just stomp on these guys, man. No let up. No let up. Be aggressive.
Well, look at the Vikings with the Colts. They were, 30 plus points in the half? I mean, take it as the Colts, but still, you're right. Anything can happen. So you got to play really good football and smart.
Jesus Christ, my King says, I'm 49 years old. Would be awesome to win it all this year. It would be awesome. And that's freaking awesome. 49.
That's a good year.
49ers. It's great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
We were talking about the weather, and I had the topic. It says bad weather, the ultimate equalizer. That is something that you got to really be really honest with yourself about, is the weather can kind of take a really good team, especially say if you were playing like the old Rams from the late 90s, greatest show on earth. This would be the perfect game you want to play against them in a rainy, because that totally nullifies everything they can do. Raj, does the weather have any influence on tomorrow, or do you think the Niners just, I mean, we've already kind of banged on this, but like weather is something that I'm a little worried about, especially if it's like monsoon downpouring. But I mean, this reminds me of the old candlestick days, when we played the Cowboys in the 90s. It's right up our alley, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, the rain's definitely going to have a factor, no doubt about it. I mean, the 49ers, though, their game plan is not going to change much. It might just make them throw a little bit less, because we all are in agreement that they got to run the ball. Last time they played the Seahawks, week 15, they ran the ball 30 times. I think that's the magic number at least. But with the rain, you want to be a little bit more careful. With Kyle Shanahan, typically, especially in the playoffs, run-centric offense. We saw, I mean, remember in Minnesota in 2019? I mean, that was all they did. Run, run, run. Green Bay, run, run, run. With the weather like this, you definitely want to continue to run more. But you got to be careful with the pass. It's also going to be windy. It could be up to 10 to 20 miles per hour is what the rumors are, and the weather reports. So depending on how the wind is, that's going to have a factor. So you got to hold on to the ball. It's like you said, it's imperative not to make mistakes. So the 49ers got to play their game. Like my boy Niner Sickness says, as long as they come in and execute, they'll win. But for the Seahawks to win, because they're an above average team, they're just happy to be here. The 49ers are on the cusp of becoming an elite team. They have everything rolling for them. For the Seahawks to win, everything has to go right for them. And in a rainy game, if the ball bounces the Seahawks way, it might help them kind of stay afloat in this game. But because of the Niners are such a run-heavy team, and they're not like the greatest show on turf Rams, like you said, I don't think it has that big of a bearing on them. I think they're going to continue to run. And because they run so effectively, I don't think it's going to hurt their game plan that much. Now, one thing you said, Aaron, is Kyle Shanahan has to stay aggressive. That's the one X factor that I don't see a lot of people talking about enough. Because in the past, Kyle Shanahan's gotten close, but he always lets his foot off the gas. This is the playoffs. I want to see him continue to just pound it and just score the ball. I don't care if you're up 20 points. Keep pounding, because you never know. Anything Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Pete Carroll, he knows this team. I feel he's got tricks up his sleeve. I feel like he's coming in this game with something in his mind, and he's going to throw the kitchen sink because they got nothing to lose. But in the end, again, I think the run game is going to be the biggest X factor. And, with CMC and Elijah Mitchell, and they called up Tevin Coleman, the veteran. They got Jordan Mason. The Niners with the run heavy game and the rain, ultimately, I think it favors the Niners because they're such a run-heavy team. Now, if they were a team, like you said, that passed the ball so much, it really hurt their chances to win. But I don't think it really limits them. I think in the end of the day, I think it helps them overall because they're just so good at bullying teams. And also with their defense, Geno's not going to be wanting to run the ball that much. He's going to want to have to stay in the pocket and, try to get the ball out and get the ball to Kenneth Walker. So I think this defense is going to come and put a lot of pressure on Nick Bosa, man. This boy's ready to slip and slide in that rain. So that's what I think on it.
The weather is the only thing that, to be honest with you, had me thinking, maybe, the Seahawks and this, that. I think if it would have been a clear day, clear, sunny, Southern California day, I would have no reservations about the Niners putting a whooping on these guys. The weather, honestly, because turnovers happen. I was listening to KNBR this morning, and they had Tom Rathman, and they asked him how he would coach a game like this Saturday, and he was all about talking about using the sideline, the 5 points of pressure or the 4 points of pressure on the ball. It's all coaching, and like listening to Tom Rathman talk about it, knowing that this is the kind of game that he used to thrive in, these running kind of dirty, muddy games. It was cool hearing him on the radio. So we have Tom Rathman's blessing to go kick some ass tomorrow. So he's actually going to be the honorary captain. I think he's doing the coin toss tomorrow, Tom Rathman. So be on the lookout for that. If you're at the game, I would assume they're not going to show that on TV unless they go super romantic about the 49ers past and they kind of, the 5-time Super Bowl champion, and then they show them do it. So just thought I'd let you guys know that Rathman will be doing the coin toss, I think, tomorrow. Beto, weather. Is that the only way the Seahawks have a chance in this game is the weather? Because that's kind of where my mind is.
Well, I love Kenneth Walker, what he's done. This rookie has run the ball very well, but he didn't do very well against us the first two games. So I really believe their running games are going to struggle against our defense, and their defense is not going to be able to return the favor and stop our running game. Like Roger said, we got Debo that we haven't mentioned, and you believe that he's going to be utilized in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You got Elijah Mitchell, who scored 2 touchdowns against Arizona coming back from an injury. You got CMC, who has been incredible since he's been traded to the San Francisco 49ers. Jordan Mason, who's Wilson Jr., who? He replaced him easily. Exactly. This kid is a horse, and we haven't even mentioned TDP yet. And, nope. So we have a plethora of running backs, and then we have a great passing team. I don't know if the weather's going to dictate this or not, but normally years in the past, we've been a run team first that set up the play action. This year, we've been a pass team first that sets up the run game. And with Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan has been more confident.
Yep.
And going for it, putting like Roger said, putting the foot on the pedal. He's been more confident because he feels that Brock Purdy can initially do exactly what Kyle wants him to do. He's able to run this well-oiled machine properly, better than Jimmy, and he's more confident. When he almost threw that interception to Diggs, what did he do? Right after, Kyle normally would have did what?
Run the ball.
Oh my God, there was not an interception. He dropped it. Let's run, right? Let's just run now. They did it with Jimmy. Jimmy in the playoffs almost threw an interception to Kendrick, and they started to run the ball. Not in this case. Brock Purdy almost threw an interception, and they went right back to the pass with Brock. There's just something about Brock that brings out Kyle ambition to just put his foot down people's throats. And we've been scoring 30-plus points in the last game since Brock has been, except the Seattle game. And that's because, like I said, points were taken away or we didn't have points at the end because of the time. So I'm very confident. The weather could be, to me, the weather will hurt Seattle more than they hurt the Niners because we're such a run-heavy team. But it's going to be, I believe the Niners could afford to make a mistake. Not that I want them to make a mistake and still recover. I don't know if Seattle can afford the same luxury. If they make a mistake late in the fourth quarter, that can really hurt them. So this weather will be a factor for both. It will affect both teams, but the Niners are better roster. Therefore, they'll be able to come out of this shining and get this W.
Go ahead, Wolf.
I mean, what's the original question?
Just how much the weather can affect this game, and do you
That's
see
what I
it
was
as
thinking.
maybe the only way that Seattle stays in this game?
Yeah, I was getting kind of lost in just what they were saying. But yeah, man, I mean, it gives me confidence that at least they get to practice in the rain this week, you know.
Yep.
It's always weird when you have nice, bright, shiny days outside at practice, and then you come into a game and all of a sudden it's raining. You know, they squirt the ball or whatever in practice because they know it's going to rain, but it's actually raining, man. I have a lot of confidence because, you know, I saw clips of Jackhammer that he posted from practice of Brock Purdy throwing and hitting every throw to the receivers in practice, and he was alternating sides with Josh Johnson.
I think they had one ball hit the ground.
That was probably Josh Johnson.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, they were throwing a lot of passes, and he was hitting them. They're very good. The 49ers offense to begin with is very dynamic when it comes to the run game. You can get Ray McCloud involved, CMC, Elijah Mitchell, Tevin Coleman maybe to close out the game.
He got called up. So did Jackrabbit. So did
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Both of those two guys. So if we get Tevin Coleman to close out the games too, get himself a touchdown or two on the goal line, I could see that happening. Him and his do-rag, that'd be pretty dope. But we could hit you in so many ways, man. Yeah, the defense just punch the ball. For the Seahawks, you know, to begin with, like how these guys were saying earlier, 13 points allowed to the Seahawks' offense. They were 4 of 13 on third downs. The 49ers defense has not allowed a 100-yard rusher all season. So, I mean, even if they have the run and they have to lean on it so much in this game, I don't think the Seahawks are going to get much of anything going against a dynamic offense in the 49ers that's going to put a lot of pressure on them to score, I think.
Yeah, weather to me is like that turnovers is always the biggest thing. It's not and you know what it does to the turf. I know the Niners have been taking real good care of their turf. They've been putting fans on it and taking the tarp off whenever they can. So I don't think the turf per se is going to be an issue because they've invested a lot of money into that sod. This isn't like the old Candlestick days where they had to throw on like kitty litter and sand on the ground just to get traction. But those were still fantastic games between the Niners and Cowboys. I mean, it seems like every NFC Championship game that we hosted at Candlestick with the Cowboys was just slop. You know what I mean? And that was part of the allure, and sometimes it kind of takes away from the game. Turnovers to me are the biggest key in this game. If the Niners can hold on to the rock, man, then really I don't see something schematically from Seattle that they're just going to throw us off our game. Although their coach is a really fantastic coach. I hate him to death and wish he would get hit with an errant football on the sideline to make him stop chewing gum. I can't stand him, but he's a really good coach. But yeah, the weather I think will have some effect on the game tomorrow. But like Beto says, I think the Niners are the ones, and you too, Wolf, and you, Raj. The Niners are the team that they can adapt to different things. They've adapted a lot this year. They've won games all different types of ways, holding on to leads, coming back, you know, whatever. Like, I think, and this is going to go on to the next topic, I think all those things prepare you for games like this because the playoffs are a crapshoot of what's going to happen in a game. The playoffs sometimes are the most wonky, you'd play the same game 5 times and you wouldn't have the same outcome. So looking forward to this game tomorrow like nobody's business. But I do think the weather will have some effect, but I think the Niners are resilient. So I don't see it being a huge, huge problem. As far as Brock Purdy, me and Beto have talked about this, about, you know, he's been passing all these different tests, these different things that keep happening. Like, okay, we haven't seen Purdy do this, and then he does it. So I'll ask Raj, like, is this a whole new thing for him that, because Jimmy Garoppolo has been known to be a very poor playoff quarterback, just plays really bad in the playoffs. Are you going to be intrigued? Are you going to be locked in seeing if Purdy plays differently, or if he's going to come out and still be the same ice in his veins type 7th round, last pick in the draft kid? Yeah, exactly. That he's been. What are you interested in to see how that kind of transpires tomorrow? Because a lot of Niners fans are thinking, who comes out tomorrow? Like, what Purdy are we getting?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, there's gonna be all eyes on Brock Purdy, as it should be. He's, like you said, passed every single test. The eye test has been amazing. And he looks like the moment's not big for him. Like a couple weeks Raiders game, it was like, he's facing adversity. He throws the pick. He bounces back off of that. Like Beto said, he almost threw the pick last week, but he bounced right back, man. Kyle trusts this guy. Like, that's the difference. It's crazy. The story is amazing. We've seen all the edits, the videos. It's like, oh my God, last pick of the draft. Third quarterback beats out Stidham, or not Stidham. He beats out what was his name?
We all know who you're talking about, and I don't remember him either.
Damn name right now. It's everybody thought he was.
He's not that good, bro, to even remember his name.
Yeah. Hey, somebody in the chat who was supposed to be our second stringer this year, hit us up.
Nate Sudfeld.
Nate Sudfeld. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. He beat out Sudfeld, who was given guaranteed money, and it's like, okay, they're keeping this guy on the roster, whatever. Trey goes down, Jimmy goes down, and it's like you throw this rookie. Nobody had expectations. Everybody, but he's exceeded everything. And then, okay, you beat Miami, and it was supposed to be the game where Miami, they're gonna beat, Mike McDaniel's gonna beat his old professor, just killed him. And then Tom Brady, right? Everybody thought, okay, this is it. You can't beat Tom Brady. No rookie beats Tom Brady. The parents go out to see Brady, and he slays Goliath, right? And it just every week another new wrinkle comes up. The moment's not too big for him, and I know he had a lot of experience in college. I know college is a lot different than the pros, but as a rookie, he just seems like he's mentally different than a lot of these rookies that come in. He's in a good position, right? We talked about it in the offseason that, Trey's going to the best position out of all these rookies. Like, I remember that talk was going around for a long time. But Brock now is in that position where he has all these weapons, Kittle and Debo and Ayuk and everybody there, and CMC now, and a good coaching staff, and a great defense around him. They're going to put him in position, but he's putting them in position. Like, it just seems like the moment's not too big for him. And again, everybody's going to have eyes on him, and the playoffs are different. The Seahawks are going to be the first team that have played him previously. This is the first team that's going to play him for the second time. So they got a lot of film. Again, Pete Carroll, I know he's going to bring a lot of different tricks up his sleeve, but again, I just have this feeling like it just seems like his story is just so good. And the way he plays is he plays so confident, and he's poised in the pocket. And again, there's been times where you're like, there's no way he's going to make this play. And then boom, the end zone plays to Kittle. Like, he's unlocked Kittle. He knows Kittle, nobody can stop him in the end zone. No safety, no linebacker. He knows he's got to make that read, and that's the difference. Jimmy was going to look for that first read, get the ball out quick, let the playmakers do their yak stuff. Purdy holds on a little bit longer. He's like, I got to make that third read or that fourth read and take the big play. He's aggressive. Kyle trusts him to do it. I think he's going to come out there and play just fine, and he's going to continue it. Like, it's crazy. He won NFC Rookie of the Month. He won the Pepsi Rookie of the Week twice. He's played 6 games. And I honestly, I know there's a lot of controversy on this topic. He should be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. I know it's a small sample size, but you extrapolate that through the whole season. This man has been putting up He set a franchise record for touchdowns thrown by a 49ers rookie. Like, it's blowing my mind how good he's been. And again, it's a small sample size, but I feel like he's going to go out there and do the thing. Now, I want to go back real quick to that weather thing. There is going to be an extra factor we didn't talk about. I know it's rain, but there's going to be a lot of wind too. So maybe they won't pass as much. And one factor that nobody's talked about a lot this week, Robbie Gould. I think he got a little rusty because the offense has been so good, 33.5 points. That Vegas game, man, he missed that kick, and it was like, I just think he's a little rusty. So I think we're going to see a little bit more Robbie Gould. I think there's going to be a few more field goals than normal because of this rain field position type thing. But I expect Brock to come out and play his ass off. Again, I know Seattle's going to try to send the heat to him, but Brock has shown in any condition so far he's been able to win. But I know it's Brock's first playoff game, but it's also Geno Smith's first playoff game. So there's also going to be pressure on him.
There, when the interview today with Tom Rathman happened, Murph and Mac were talking about the comparisons, and I know you guys are going to freaking kill me, so just brace yourself, to Joe Montana because of Montana's ability to be calm. Nothing he's done on the field per se, but just the calmness, the lack of stress that you have when you watch him. Montana was the guy that you always knew was going to pull it out in the end. You didn't have any doubt. I think a lot of us, and I know Beto's had this. It's like this lack of stress when we watch Brock Purdy. There's like no doubt that he's going to do something good. With Garoppolo, it was always like, okay, I can't see what's happening off screen. Where is he going with the ball? With Purdy, I have no doubt he's going to put it somewhere. And Rathman said, why wouldn't that be a good comparison? Like Montana was the guy who had ice in it, and I'm saying he's not going to be Joe because Montana's one of the greatest. He's still the greatest of all time to me. I don't care, but I just thought it was a cool comparison, and that Rathman kind of agreed with it. But Beto, you've been pretty bullish on Purdy, and with rightfully so. How do you feel if Purdy comes out tomorrow? You think there's any jitters, or you think it's going to be the same old song and dance?
This is the kid that had his parents in the stand against Miami. They were there to watch the Dolphins and Jimmy play. Jimmy gets hurt in the first series of the game, and his number gets called. And from the very first snap, this kid looked poised. He wasn't afraid of what was going on. He wasn't confused. He was calling plays. He was spreading the ball around with confidence. This kid, anticipation, I love it. He doesn't have a big arm. And I said this before. We all know that Josh Allen can wait for the receiver to get to his spot and slip the ball to him. Brock Purdy can't, but he anticipates and trusts his receivers that by the time the receiver makes his cut, the ball's already up in the air, landing towards that receiver. And that timing and that work ethic is something that he brings. The fact that he can get out of the pocket and buy time and allow the receivers to get away from the defenders. He doesn't the way he made that one defender from the Bucs kind of missed in the backfield. Jimmy, and no discredit to Jimmy, but Jimmy would have taken a sack right there. And then not only that part, but remember when he threw the ball away at the far sideline, where he kind of made this funny turnaround like a ballerina and then threw the ball. This guy's a rookie. This rookie is making veteran moves when Jimmy Garoppolo, a veteran, was making rookie mistakes. And that's the difference between these two quarterbacks. One is playing with poise. And understand this, he's going to make his mistakes. He's human. But I guarantee you, he's the type of quarterback that I've seen so far in 6 games, that when he makes that mistake, I saw that in Kaepernick. When Kaepernick threw that first interception in that Green Bay Packer game, he came back firing. Some certain players make a mistake and they come stronger and make up for that mistake and don't get caught up in the pit of, oh, damn, I made a mistake. How am I going to get out of it? I see this kid doing the same. He's going to have his mistakes, hopefully not many, but I believe this kid will overcome those with great ball play, and I'm confident in him. So to your original question, will he be nervous? There's anybody that ever played football or watched football understands that regular season, if you have a bad game, as bad as it is, there's always that next week to kind of redeem yourself and fix it. When you play in the playoffs, you have a bad game, you got to sit there the whole offseason on that bad game. So there is pressure. But Brock Purdy, this kid is ice in his veins. Now the reference to Joe Montana, yes, he hasn't won 4 Super Bowls yet. Okay, we don't know the future, but the calmness, that it brings, the confidence that he has, he believes in himself. This kid doesn't need people to tell him how good he is. He knows he's good, and that type of confidence is hard to instill in someone. Either you know you're good or you're not, and this kid is confident. And what I meant about making mistakes, his confidence won't get shaken by a mistake. He'll just come back and So, oh yeah, you know what? I screwed up. I'm going to get the ball back into the end zone, and we're going to win this game. And this kid brings that fire, and I'm excited. So no, I don't think he'll be nervous. I think he's going to come in firing, and it's going to be completely a different game than we saw with Jimmy Garoppolo against the freaking Vikings. You're going to see this kid be more of a factor, even in the rain, than freaking Garoppolo was on a sunny day.
The one thing when I watch him that is so evident is poise. He has poise. No matter the situation, no matter the score. It's crazy, you know, the people, the Montana comparison, but anytime you watch Montana highlights, there was never a time, you know, there's some players, and me and my brother talk about this a lot with Josh Allen. Josh Allen, for some strange reason, when he gets into playoff games or he's in stressful situations, he's got the like a deer in headlights looking at him, and it's some guys just get really frazzled. Jimmy's had it too. This kid has got the whole, I was the last pick in the draft, and he's going to carry that with him his whole career. Let's just talk about how the fact that Brady, they did all those interviews on him on NFL Films all those years later after winning Super Bowls, and he would still get emotional walking with his parents after he wasn't picked, and being that, he'll never forget that. And that's why Brady has been who he's been. And I think Purdy's going to always have, as long as he plays, that same kind of like out to prove it thing. Some guy, and his preparation too. Preparation. People talk about like third string quarterback, scout team quarterback. Most of them don't get prepared to play games. And yet this guy's on it, which proves he really loves the game and he's really passionate about the game. And he's not just saying, well, I'm going to make what, $500,000 a year to sit on my ass. I don't care. Nope. Not that type of guy at all. So, Wolf,
real quick to your point of I was at the Super Bowl when the Niners played Cincinnati, and the Niners had to come back, and they were at the 2-minute warning.
That's right. You were.
And the whole story about the John Candy, he was 2 hours away from where I was at, and Joe Montana, when he said, you know, all the pressure's on the offense. They have to score to win. They have to go, what? I forgot how many yards. It was a lot of yards.
They had to go 92 yards to win.
92 yards, yeah. And he looks, and he's concentrating on John Candy and he's telling everybody in the huddle, hey, look, is that John Candy? This kid was ice in his veins. Brock Purdy seems to be the same kind of character where he's not going to let the situation phase him. He believes in himself. As long as you believe in yourself, that's all that matters. And that's contagious. It brings your not, I would say coworkers, but your teammates spirits up. Even if they don't believe in themselves, you start, especially at a quarterback, you start oozing confidence.
Yep. It
spreads like wildfire. And then these guys started, and you already got Kittle, like Roger said, he was non-insistent almost prior to him. I'm telling you, that shirt that he was wearing about Kittle, he probably burned it. Now he has one for Brock Purdy. You know what I mean? Because 7 touchdowns since Brock Purdy took over, even though they're Iowa State and Iowa, but they're teammates now, man. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to bring a story when I was there at the Super Bowl and the Joe Montana, and 2 minutes to go, 92 yards to go, and he's just concerned about looking at John Candy. I thought that was awesome.
Wolf's like, I want to speak.
I'm good. I'm a good listener, man.
No, you are. You're very patient.
I sit here and I soak it all in.
Your observation with Purdy, because like I said, I always look at his poise and the fact that he's always prepared. And he's really good with the media, which is something Jimmy always, like, he always is scratching himself or adjusting his sleeves and just felt really uncomfortable up there. Yeah. And then you got Brock, this little dude. I like I said, I grew up with a guy like him. He was kind of a smallish dude, but he oozed, as Razor Ramon would say, machismo. He just oozed machismo. He like oozed, and he uses confidence. And I see that with Brock Purdy. What's your take on the whole Brock Purdy situation? You just, are you of the mindset like a lot of us, where it's, you don't really get stressed when you watch him like you used to with Jimmy?
Oh, 100%. I mean, of course, when you get the cushion of points, that's got to help. With Jimmy, especially in the playoffs last year, I felt like I was having heart palpitations every single playoff game, man. And I was just so tired of it, man. I was so ready for Trey Lance. I was hoping they'd use him for, 2 quarterback system type stuff last year. And I was ready for the Trey Lance era to start, man, just so we could see something different, something more dynamic that could make the offense more explosive. Who would have thought it would have been our last pick in the NFL draft? And one thing in the Miami game was I jokingly said, I think I jinxed it for the better, because I told the other fans in the sports bar, I said, you guys are looking at the second coming of Montana right here. And that was before he even took his first snap. I was kind of joking around. And then sure enough, he balls out, man. So I was like, oh, shit. Really put me on notice, man. But yeah, man, he's got ice in his veins, just like Joe Cool. I love all that stuff. He was born and bred into this. He's from a family of athletes that work really hard at what they do. I love his humility. And, with every athlete, regardless of how much confidence you have in your craft, there's always those jitters to begin with, right? But once you get going, you start breaking a sweat, that all goes away, and the what starts oozing is that confidence in your skill set again. So that's what he's got, man. So he's been through it many a time, coming from here in Arizona and working his way up from high school and getting all the reps in high school and college, and being ready for the NFL. So it's too bad Trey Lance couldn't get as many reps as Purdy did, but we'll see how things play out.
Yeah, I think a lot of Niners fans early on were just, at least I was. I remember tweeting, and I'll be honest, I thought the season was over when Jimmy got hurt. I mean, we didn't know anything about Brock Purdy. I mean, I know people like Larry Krueger, scouted him coming out, and a lot of people who scouted him coming out thought that I don't know if Raj had any inklings about Purdy, but a lot of fans, everyday fans who don't go to training camp, who don't, follow the 49ers for a living, or just YouTubers like me, just kind of throw stuff against the wall. Yeah. Nobody had any clue about Purdy. Nobody.
Hey, I did. Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby. I called it out. I'm not famous. I'm not famous, so nobody knew. But the people who watch my show, I've been talking about Brock Purdy since
you knew, baby boy. You knew
the offseason.
Krueger.
Chris Collinsworth has emotional damage. Sorry, I had to do that.
Real quick, Larry Krueger, and I talked to him a lot this offseason and during training camp, because I was there, he was there, we talked a lot. He kept talking. I remember we had a show when we did it, and we both were like, yeah, Brock Purdy, he looked good. And that's why I brought up the Nate Sudfeld thing, because I was like intrigued. I was like, this guy's outplaying Sudfeld, who's getting paid. Like, they gave him guaranteed money. And that was the moment when they cut loose Sudfeld, and they're like, we have to keep this Brock guy, because they knew this guy was good enough to actually play on the team, or at least get a roster spot. They knew if they cut him, somebody would have taken him. And again, last pick of the draft, I think you hit the nail on the head, Aaron. He's playing with a bag of Doritos on his shoulder, large bag of chips, man. This guy is always going to remember. Like, look, everybody passed on me except the 49ers. One team. He's going to remember that. And that's
the whole league passed me the whole draft.
That's going to fuel him, man. He had to wait. Yeah. Like, if you heard the story, they called him the last day, and Kyle's like, we want you. We're going to draft you, but we got these other players. So he's sitting there holding probably hands in the pot, like, is he gassing me? And he told his family, because he kept getting calls. He's like, oh, that's just my agent telling me about like free agent stuff, like undrafted free agent. He didn't want him to know, because he found out that he's getting drafted. And he was like, I can't let my family know. I want it to be a surprise. So if you saw the famous video where they just go crazy, oh my God, Brock Purdy last week, the family loses it, because it truly was a surprise. He didn't tell him, even though he kind of knew. He kept telling me, yeah, it's just free agent call. It's nothing. And it blew their mind. So you can tell, like, it means so much to the family. He's a humble young man. Like, it's just his passion. Like you said, he could have sat on his thumbs, collect the $500K, but no, he wanted to be a starter. And there was that video the NFL posted. I'm sure you guys have seen it now, that crazy edit. Like, they take a little excerpt of him back in Pro Bowl, or not the Pro Bowl, the Pro Day, his Pro Day, during the Combine. And he goes, I want to be an NFL quarterback. He says, I don't care if it takes 5 years or 10 years. Like, that was his motive. And I think it still reverberates that around his head. Like, I want to be the guy. Like, he got his opportunity, and he's not letting it, he's not squandering the opportunity, because sometimes, like, a guy like that, last pick in the draft, you may never get an opportunity, and he finally got it. He's trying to make this opportunity a sticking opportunity. Like, he's not looking back. He's not like, I'm not going to be competing next year. He's looking and telling you guys, I am the quarterback of this team. there's no looking back. Like, Jimmy, thank you for everything you did. I'm the guy. And like you said, his interviews, this kid has it, like the it factor. I don't know, man. This kid, it's special. We're witnessing something that could be the greatest story of all time. This could be the next 30 for 30. I don't know. It's just wild to me. Yeah, the last pick in the freaking draft, and here he is. He could be the next Joe Montana. I don't know. Who knows?
Raj, if he's 6'4" with a gun, he's a first round draft pick. But he's 5'11" and 3/4.
That's it. And that's the thing, because I remember talking about this weeks, and we were talking about, like, how did he drop his size and pro day measurements, and he actually stayed an extra year, and that extra year did damage. Sometimes
I heard about that.
Had the resume, he didn't have that good final year, because actually his junior year, there were people that saying that he could have been like a higher pick, maybe a 3rd round pick, 2nd round pick, but his last year, I think he hurt himself draft stock wise, and there was other players out there and quarterbacks and this and that, but the year that he could have went when Trey Lance was out, that was a good quarterback class, so he was probably like, maybe I don't want to compete with these guys, and I think he did a disservice to himself. But hey, it doesn't matter. Now he's QB1 and he's not looking back. So.
I just want to add to Roger. You got these quarterbacks that are 6'3", 6'4", 200 plus pounds. Sometimes they let things get to their head. They're like, yeah, I'm good. I know I'm good. And they kind of just they get this big head. When you have a kid like Brock that has to fight for everything in life, you have to fight. He stays humble. He knows that, instead of partying, going out with his friends, he probably stuck watching film. He dedicated himself because at the end of the day, he wanted to be an NFL quarterback. And he knew that already right off the gate, he was playing behind the 8 ball because of his height and the strength of his arm. So he knew he had to put that extra work. And sometimes when you have a person like that, that could be special. Russell Wilson was one as well. He was a 3rd round pick, went out a bit higher, but he outbeat, what was the name of that quarterback they brought in from Packers, the Seattle that year. They signed him. He was supposed to be the freaking starter, and he got beaten by Russell Wilson. So
yeah, he had a really good like meaningless game against like one game where he came in and started. I know the quarterback you're talking about. Once again, his name escapes us.
I know we say that like comparison to Joe Montana because Joe Montana has already established himself, and a lot of times when you mention a kid that is barely, 7th round pick, Matt Flynn, yeah, thank you. People are like, oh no, you can't put him in that category. But Joe Montana, before he was Joe Montana, if I would have told you guys Joe Montana's gonna be Joe Montana before he even played a down of football, you'd be like, that's crazy. 4 Super Bowls, no way.
Skinny little quarterback, doesn't have a huge arm.
Exactly. So it's just what's in your heart. I mean, this kid, who knows what the future holds, but with the combination of Kyle Shanahan and this defense and run game, he's in a perfect situation to flourish.
Agreed on all fronts. Let's deviate away from Purdy and let's attack the giant elephant in the room that I think a lot of us all have noticed, but we've talked about it to death. A lot of content creators, media people, is just the effect that Christian McCaffrey has made on this team. This could go down if we win the Super Bowl as probably the greatest mid-season trade ever. The Niners transformed when this guy took over. Transformed. I was 50-50 on it because I was like, he's got injury issues, and the Niners always have injury issues. He shut my butt up real fast, and he's continued to shut my butt up. You agree, Raj, that Christian McCaffrey's been all that in a bag of chips since he's gotten here?
Even more than whatever. F them picks. This man has saved the season. Like, it was the money move. I mean, I know they did a money move with Emmanuel Sanders back in 2019, but that team was 8-1 or at the point or whatever.
Yep.
They were kind of like, we need an extra juice. But this is kind of the same effect, but even bigger. 3-4, their offense was sputtering. Ever since he became running back 1, they have not lost the game. The offense, you guys mentioned it, they're scoring 33.5 points. Like, Debo has been kind of going through injuries and stuff, but this CMC, is a superstar. It's like a player that we haven't seen in a long time. He is one of the best players in the NFL.
Yep.
All-purpose monster, Marshall Faulk type guy, LaDainian Thompson type guy, and he's transformed the offense. It definitely is a guy that Kyle probably wanted for a long time. Lynch and him got the connection. I remember when the rumors were coming out at first, I was like, please let it happen. People thought I was dumb. I was like, if this guy's healthy, he transforms the offense because he can run the ball, he can catch the ball, and if you throw him those screen passes, the defense is going to start keying on him, and then boom, you got the outside run, zone run, and then if he starts running the ball, you got to put 8 men in the box, and then you could pass. So he's changed it all. And Kay Adams said this the other day, just like you said, that it was the greatest trade in midseason history ever. I can't think of another trade that's had more impact than Christian McCaffrey. Like, I might be biased, and Kay Adams might have swayed me with her pretty face, but hey, I agree with
I think she does that to a lot of people.
Does, but she made a great point. Like, the offense scores more points, like just everything about it. And you can tell that he's just such a hardworking player. Like, he makes everybody around him better. There was a game where he led the team in rushing and receiving almost every week. And I remember after the game, he told the coaches, like, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'll play better. Like, who says I'm going to play better when you were the best player on the team? Like, that's his work ethic. And in the playoffs now, I don't know, he's going to switch it to another level. He's only been in the playoffs one as a rookie. Like, you could tell he's probably itching for this moment. Yeah, definitely love the draft, love the trade. He's worth every pick and more.
And he's going to be here a while too.
Yeah. And
this isn't a 1-year deal. We're not trying to turn this over for a comp pick. The Niners have some goals, regardless of who the quarterback's going to be. That's a whole other discussion that you can talk about in the offseason whenever that starts.
Yeah, he's a star,
man. Beto, Christian McCaffrey trade. He's been like the I'm trying to think of the word here. The magic switch that the Niners have turned on since they acquired him. And I mean, the Niners they're in every game mainly because of him. He just, the touchdown he got against the Cardinals, it was so slow and developing. And it was like, I had no doubt he was going to take it to the end zone. And he looked like he was running half speed to wait for his blocker. So, I mean, what's your take on everything regarding Christian McCaffrey?
I love the trade. A lot of people call him injury prone. I don't think he's an injury prone type of player. He had about a year or two kind of some minor injuries that never had to have surgery on. And as a rookie in a few years in, he never got hurt. So this whole thing about injury prone, I think people took a little bit too far with him. Look how he's playing now, like a workhorse, and he's busting through the middle of defenders. And this team was 3-3 when they traded for him. And they lost to the Chiefs because it was a short for him, trying to figure out the offense, trying to figure out the complex offense of Kyle Shanahan. They put a little package for him, but it was so much for him to take in, and they lost that game. And plus, they were missing so much other players on defense. But since then, 10 games since that Kansas City Chiefs, and they haven't looked back. So a lot of people that I talked to were like, I can't believe we gave so much picks. I can't believe we gave all these picks. I'm like, if this kid can turn our season around. Yeah, but you're banking on something that we don't know. I go, well, in life, you always got to take chances.
That's right.
You don't win or do things. People that don't take chances never go anywhere. They never advance. You got to take chances. You got to be willing to fail and not be afraid to fail to succeed. Those that are afraid to fail will never succeed because they never try. And the Niners said, you know what? We're putting our chips in the middle. We're going to get this kid, and we're going to hope that he works out. And he has planned out beyond our expectations. This kid, like Raj said, he went to the playoffs in his rookie year. He's itching. You don't think this kid's going to make a statement tomorrow in the playoffs? This kid's going to carry this team on his shoulders, especially in the weather that we might be playing in. Adding him completely changed Kyle Shanahan's approach and play calling, and finally got that running back. I mean, we saw what he can do with Raheem Mostert. We saw what he was able to do with Wilson. Now you get a back of the caliber of CMC, and watch on the outside, inside. He can catch the ball. I call him the black Debo and Debo the white CMC. These guys can do it all. You got a running back that is a receiver, and you got a receiver that is a running back. And then you got a coach that knows how to utilize these two players. I'm telling you, tomorrow's game, keep an eye on CMC and Deebo Samuel. Those guys are going to blow it up.
Wolf?
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I love it. It was so cool. I know everybody was talking about the injury and stuff like that. I love that not only did the 49ers get him, but they kept him away from everybody else. You know, the Rams were another high bidder for him, and who knows what would have happened if he would have went to the Rams. But the 49ers got it done, so I love that. The management over here on our side of our franchise is doing a great job, and he's a great weapon overall, man. I was glad that he gets to come be in an offense where he's not the complete workhorse. You know, he gets to spread the ball around and take some weight off his shoulders, and everything's not put on him. So I had confidence that he could stay healthy, and man, he's proved even more to me when it comes to health than really what I expected because of the way Kyle Shanahan has used him. I think it lends itself to a beating. You know, he didn't even get to rest week 18, but the fact that he's stayed healthy is just awesome. And he's a great outlet for quarterbacks, man, especially a young one in Brock Purdy. And then, of course, the other guys down the field, you still got one thing that I feel like has been underutilized in the Kyle Shanahan offense in the past couple years is we haven't been able to use running backs in the pass game as much as we've wanted to, and that opens the playbook up even more, as well as a versatile quarterback, man. So CMC is doing like exponential rounds of positivity for the 49ers offense.
This is a crazy year because it's like if the Niners win, it was expected because they have a really good team and roster.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't, it'd be a major disappointment, because especially with a guy like Christian McCaffrey. Kyle Shanahan has transformed since Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy have taken over. Totally different coach, because he's got players that he knows that are almost an instant. Not an instant. I'm trying to think of the word. I've been looking for the perfect word, but almost like a get out of jail free card. Like, we got this. You know, he's ace up their sleeve, but he's got two of them. He's got a guy that can blow it up in the run game, who's sneaky fast. He's not Mostert fast, but he's sneaky fast. And then he in the pass game, sometimes it's like, do the Niners even try to go to anybody else? Like, if he's open, damn it, throw it. And he's shown to have that ability. This has all the feelings of like a Roger Craig, Montana, like dumping it off. This 49er team reminds me a lot of those old Niners teams. Everybody can run after the catch. Everybody can make plays happen after they get the ball. They have a quarterback that doesn't have a super big arm, but is super poised. You look at Purdy, you don't get confidence off the bat because you think like he's small, he's little, he doesn't have a big arm. But then you watch him play and you watch how he just, it's amazing. This 49ers team to me is a real story this year. I really hope they win the championship because, man, this has been a great season regardless so far. But winning the Super Bowl would be just the icing on the cake. We've gotten breaks with injuries. We've gotten breaks with playing teams at the right time when they're down. Like, that's how you win, man. Like, whatever. We've beaten bad teams very easily. We've beaten good teams pretty easily. So we'll see, man.
Yeah, and it's like if we're not going to win it this year, when the hell are we going to win it, man?
Right. This
I'm getting tired
of
of
this
this
opportunity.
Yeah,
You're not the
window,
only...
like, and again, this team is hungry. You've had these players have heartache, Deebo and this team, they got so close last year. You saw him crying after the game. Bosa's been there, Trent Williams. You got a lot of players that have been so close. Like, this is a pretty veteran-laden team coming into the playoffs. Like, a lot of teams aren't as experienced as the Niners, if you really think about it. Especially Seattle. They're a young team. They weren't even supposed to be there. A lot of their best players are rookies this year. Tariq Woolen, Kobe Bryant, Kenneth Walker, young bucks. 49ers have a lot of experience and a lot of veterans. And then you got a guy like CMC who's been in the league, and he's hungry. Like we said, he's played one playoff game, 2017, 2018 season. He's itching to, like, go out there and say, okay, you saw me in the regular season. Hold my beer. Let me show you what I'm going to do in the regular season. Then you got Deebo coming back. Everybody's healthy. Like, Deebo and CMC really haven't played much together. But now they get to go out there and do the damn thing. And again, CMC, like you guys said, he makes Brock's job easier. Whoever the quarterback is, he makes her job easier because you can throw him on the outlet pass. And again, it's just so good how he is as a receiver. Like you're right, as a receiving back, you could throw him in the slot, and he's better than these receivers that actually are receivers. He's like a Cole Beasley type guy, but he's a running back. It's crazy. Roger Craig, that's a perfect example. Montana to Craig, like it's exactly the same thing. And you want to know why? Because his dad, Kyle Shanahan's dad, Mike Shanahan, they were in that offense. Like that's his offense, and it's the same offense. And it's crazy because the Shanahans and the McCaffreys, they were friends growing up. Like the history, so it's kind of like destiny that Shanahan was.
It is. It does feel like destiny.
It's like the writing's on the wall. The stars are aligning. It's crazy. It feels like everything's syncing up for the team. As long as they execute, I don't know. It's a special year. I'm not getting any younger. We got to get that.
Right. And you know what's crazy? I'm at the physical therapy place yesterday doing the stuff for my knee, and I'm hearing a couple of old ladies and one of the therapists talking about the Niners and saying, I really like that Purdy kid and they look really good and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, even like low key people that don't obsess and follow them and have YouTube channels talking about the Niners. I'm like, we got to do it this year, man. Even like the normal public is talking about how pretty awesome this team is, man. It'll be a major heartbreak if they don't. But but I'm not even going to think about that. I'm just taking tomorrow's game for what it is and watching it and enjoying it. And hopefully things come to fruition and work their way out.
One game at a time, Aaron. One game at a time. But let me tell you, the Eagles, the way they looked against the Giants in the last week, even with Jalen Hurts back, how healthy is he really? How healthy is he? They struggle. Exactly.
Shoulder problems ain't no joke, people.
They struggle with the second-team Giants. Okay, the Cowboys are frauds. We already know that. They might even get past Tampa Bay on Monday. Minnesota is another team that can easily be taken care of.
Minnesota.
in the NFC, this is the year they're so weak that the Niners can easily overcome any of these teams. None of these teams scare me. None of them. We can beat all of them, especially if the Niners playing their type of football. And then once we get to the Super Bowl, anything can happen there. And I'm not worried about the AFC. So this is definitely the year. And why not end this Cinderella story? Imagine, no rookie has ever won the Super Bowl, but there's always a first, right? Why not let it be Brock?
Why not us, baby?
That's right.
Yeah, we're as healthy as we've been to in a long time. That's the one thing that I'm really happy about, which we haven't had in recent years. This is as healthy as we've been. Other than the corners that we lost, this is pretty much our starting roster to start the season on the field. Aaron Banks is coming back. Drake Greenlaw is going to be out there. I love Drake Greenlaw.
We're healthier than the beginning of the season, bro.
Yeah, this is insane. I don't know how much longer you guys got if you want to talk about the defense real quick, or if you got to get out of here. Or does anybody have to?
No, I'm good. It's Friday for me.
We're good for now.
Okay. This defense got crowned as elite early in the season, and they had some hiccups. And I think a lot of us, at least myself, hated hearing elite, hated hearing all-time great, because I just felt we hadn't been tested in some games, and this, that, and the other. And the Niners have shown that they have some holes that can be attacked if you have the right team doing it. And I guess my question to Raj is this? I mean, can the Niners kind of return back to that team now that they're fully healthy and they've had a chance to kind of hone in on, because Bosa made a statement about how playoff football, it's like you turn on another gear and it's like the regular season is one thing, the playoffs are another. Can the Niners kind of recapture what they were, say, maybe the first 6 weeks of the season going into tomorrow?
100%. They're still the same defense. I know a lot of people made a big thing about this defense kind of, oh my God, they're not that defense. Like, okay, the Raiders. Let's talk about the Raiders game first off. The Raiders had nothing to lose. Backs against the wall. We didn't have any film on Stidham, right? They ran the ball very well. Josh Jacobs, best running back in the league. He deserves all-pro nod. Not even going to hate you. And Nick Bosa said it. He goes, he's probably the best running back in the league. I agree with them there. They ran the ball. If you run the ball against the Niners, you can beat us. That's their kryptonite. And they had a mobile-type quarterback. So I think they hit us early, and I don't think we took them serious because it was the Raiders. They looked like they were packing it in, got rid of Carr, and Bosa admitted, he goes, we didn't take them as serious. We didn't expect Stidham to really be that good. So I feel like, but if you watch that second half, they made the adjustments, and they made the plays they needed to make in critical junctions. The interception at the end, big interception by Drake Jackson. They made big plays. They had goal line stands. And then last week against the Cardinals. Cardinals had nothing to lose. They were thrown out there. It's a division game. The Niners probably didn't want to play too hard. They kind of sat back a little bit. So, Cardinals came out and they surprised us a little bit. Coming out second half, Kyle said, look, these guys are not going to be on the bench. The starters are playing the second half. He probably chewed them out and said, hey, look, you guys want to rest and
They said that in the post game or the post half interview that he was pissed off.
Yeah, he says, look, he probably told them, hey, if you want to sit on the bench and get some rest for the rest of the game, earn that shit. And that's what he did. And I think they realized, okay, we need to step up. Second half, Cardinals couldn't do anything. And that's what I think the Niners are going to do in the playoffs. I think they realize, okay, we got to click that gear up now because the playoffs start next week. And the other X factor is D'Amico Ryans. He's got a head coach job position possibly in the works, whatever the case is. In order for him to get a head coach job, because it's not just going to be handed to him, there are other candidates in some of the teams he's going to. There's Sean Payton, he's a really good coach, right? And maybe Harbaugh. I don't know if he's going to come out of the league, but there are some good candidates. If D'Amico wants to be hired over Sean Payton, let's say it comes down to this. Let's just say, I know this is a long way down the line, but let's say it's the Broncos, and the Broncos are debating between Sean Payton and D'Amico. D'Amico can say, hey, look at my resume. I just had the #1 defense dominate in the playoffs and help this 49er team win a Super Bowl. That's going to be a good resume maker, and they're going to say, okay, we'll pay you whatever you want. Sean Payton's been out of the game for a while. So D'Amico Ryans, it benefits him if this defense goes crazy. And he's going to tell these guys, look, I love you. I came back to run it back. Let's get this championship and forget about these coaching jobs right now. Let's prove why I'm the best head coach candidate for the future. And these guys love D'Amico. They know his future. Whatever happens, they want him to have success. But at the end of the day, I think this defense comes back. You got Nick Bosa ready to go. He doesn't have to worry about a sack record or anything. I think he was playing I think it was in his head that he had to get the sack record. That's not a problem anymore. I don't know. I feel like this defense is ready to rip and roll. Everybody's healthy. That's the key. They're getting Kevin Givens back. The only aspect that kills this defense right now, and I said it earlier in the season, the biggest injury was losing Emmanuel Mosley. That was big time. But with everything else, Tashawn Gibson stepped up. You got Hufanga made a all-pro out of his mind. I think everybody's going to step up, and this D-line is going to be a problem for teams. So I think they're going to do what they got to do.
Beto?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. A lot of people, like Roger said, that they kind of go back to that Raider game, and suddenly I was doing a play-by-play, and certain people in my chat were like, our defense sucks. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I know we're emotional right now, but you don't go all season keeping teams to less than 20 points, other than the Chiefs and Atlanta, okay? Keeping runners under 100, actually under 70 rushing yards individually, to be suddenly we get exposed a little bit because the Niners were taken by surprise against the Raiders, and suddenly we suck. This is a dominant defense. This has been I think it's a historical type of defense that we have. We have great on the secondary. Yes, Emmanuel Sanders has hurt us. Lenore has been exposed a little bit, but Hufanga, Gibson. Oh my goodness, I never thought signing this vet would have been as good as he played. He's overachieved, and from my perspective, on this secondary. But that's what championship type of defenses or teams do. They bring the best out of you, and then you got the best trio of linebackers in football. Then you got a freaking D-line that has a plethora of defenders. You got the big boy Aaron. People criticize a lot about Eric Armstead. That I think he's so underrated.
I was that
this
guy
or that.
for a while.
DeForest Buckner, they should have kept DeForest. Listen, DeForest Buckner is gone. Eric Armstead here. This guy's a beast when he's in the middle. He demands. He pushes the players out of the way. He makes the job easier for Fred Warner and company. And then you got Nick Bosa, the defensive player of the year, undoubtedly on there. And then you have this young kid and Drake Jackson coming up, learning from the best. And then you got D'Amico Ryans, that is a guy that can make game adjustments. One thing I didn't like about Robert Saleh was his in-game adjustments. he just wouldn't make his adjustments into halftime, and that pissed me off. But D'Amico makes his in-game adjustments accordingly to what the offense is giving him. Whenever I see like Green Bay last year, they scored a touchdown right on us, and they made it look like, oh crap, Aaron Rodgers is going to kill us. When did they score again that game? They didn't score again, not a touchdown. D'Amico sees what the offense is bringing, gets a feel of what the players are doing offensively, and then makes his adjustments and kicks their ass. So I love this defense. This is a powerful defense. And defense wins championships. Offense puts people in the seats, and defense wins championship. I'll take a great defense over a great offense anytime. Maybe I'm old school, but remember Peyton Manning and that Denver explosive offense play Seattle's Legion of Doom. What was the score of that game in that Super Bowl?
That was bad. I don't even know.
It was, and Peyton Manning was playing great that time during that. So I'm excited to see. I'm telling you guys, get ready for a great game. The Niners know what's at stake. They're not taking the Seahawks lightly. They're not taking the playoffs lightly. They know they got it really close last year. This team is better than last year's, and they're going to push everything in. It's hard to win a game in the NFL. They have won 10 straight. Don't give me none of that. Well, who have they played? You play who's in front of you.
That's right. You play who's on your schedule, man.
And not only that, but they dominated those in front of him as a good team shall. Like I was talking to a Rams fan. I'll shut up real quick. He, well, you guys won the NFC West because our teams are strong. We won the NFC West because your teams are struggling, of course, but we dominated you guys. It's not like we barely beat you guys by 3 points. We dominated all three teams in our division twice. So I don't want to hear that we played this team that we played. You play who's on your schedule, and I don't want to hear that the Rams are weak. They hurt. We dominated the West, and we're going to go far this year. And I can't wait towards the end of this year, man, because I think we're going to have a great thing to cheer about. Now I'll shut up.
Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to see what the defense brings to the playoffs because, like I said, I think they were pacing themselves the last couple games. Nick Bosa came out and said, now how much truth is there to it? But he said that they had taken the Raiders lightly, of course, and coming into the season, that was supposed to be the best division in football for the NFL was the AFC West. The Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers. Every single one of those teams gave us problems. Every single one of them. The Broncos beat us. The Raiders came damn near close. So did the Chargers. And the Chiefs beat our ass. I saw something where the Raiders, or actually, if you were to flip every one-score game that happened this season, the Raiders would have had like the number 2 seed. So they were playing basically everybody that they were playing. They're playing them pretty tough, man. So the 49ers, I think, took them lightly, like I said. I think there's truth to what Bosa said. Of course, Emmanuel Mosley goes down. He's a little bit bigger than Diamador Lenore, who's had struggles. But I think matchups are going to be a big key in this. Of course, don't be matching up Diamador Lenore with the 6'5" tight end when that's supposed to be.
What was that all about, Nate?
That you're supposed to save that for a guy like the Eliminator, Mr. Jimmy Ward. I think the 49ers have gotten a little too gun shy with the man coverage. I think we're pretty well suited for it. That's why you pay Charvarius Ward. That's why we have Jimmy Ward. Diamador Lenore is very sticky in coverage. He has trouble with guys that are bigger than him is the problem, and way bigger than him, which is understandable. I've said it over and over again. He's had a lot of pass breakups. I know everybody wanted to pick on him after the Raider game because of Devontae Adams allowing just a couple catches, literally just a couple catches. And even one of them shouldn't have counted, which was the one that touched the ground.
Yep.
And so he's getting way too much flack. I think, if you were to match him up on somebody more like a Lockett, a Marquise Goodwin, which Marquise Goodwin isn't supposed to play anyways. So if you match him up on Lockett and blitz, get Geno Smith very uncomfortable when it's already raining. He's not going to be gripping the ball very well, I don't think, man. So
Niners need to swipe at that thing too in this game.
yeah. And that's going to be another thing too, man. Don't be so gun shy on rushing more than 4. That's been a big problem. I have seen that they've thrown Bosa into coverage a couple times, which is pretty cool as a middle linebacker. Yeah. So just a little more creativity, but they're doing a great job, man. Hufanga took a look in the mirror. D'Amico Ryans was asked about it and told him he's got to stop playing hero ball. So I think we saw the corrections in the Cardinals games because, you know, like I've told you guys before, it's different when you're having the turnover to touchdown ratio. In other words, Hufanga, if he's making plays, but he's giving up plays, that's one thing. But if he's just giving up plays and he's not making any, that's another thing. And that's what's been happening the last half stretch of the season. So it looks like he's made that correction. And D'Amico continue to put Diamador Lenore in more favorable matchups.
I just want to say hi to Mariah real quick in the chat. I know she's been here for a bit. All the rest of you have been really active. So I just want to say thank you. Yeah, to me, Hufanga and Demo are 2 guys that I'll really be watching tomorrow. We need them to play well. They've been the guys that have kind of been picked on, and you know, this defense has not been a defense you could really pick apart all year, but those are the 2 guys that have kind of been the ire of some 49er fans like myself at times. But you know, this is playoff football, man. It's one and done. So if they step up tomorrow and play well, this Niner team is going to be hard to beat. I'm looking forward to that game. I'm looking forward to seeing the level of intensity on the Niners come up to that level.
What if? Don't give me that if.
When?
Thank you. When?
That's the East Coast. See, that's the East Coast in me. Okay, I'm pessimistic because I'm an East Coaster. I'm always expecting negativity. You West Coast folks, everything is a given.
Aggressive.
You're all relaxed. You live on the East Coast long enough, you'll understand. Last thing, I just want to say that the Niners' success recently has been because of the front office and what they've done, scouts and what they've done. I want to get your take real quick on all you guys before we get out of here on the Adam Peters news that he's pretty much both interviews. I don't know if he declined both interviews. And there's a lot of talk within a guy like Matt Mayoka says he's very comfortable within the job that he has. When the Niners win the Super Bowl this year, do you see John Lynch stepping down and
learning
and letting Adam Peters take over? Or do you see Adam Peters going anywhere, Raj? I don't want him to. I don't want any of those scouts going anywhere because, listen, man, this team, 95% of this team has been built through the draft. The Niners are the opposite of the Rams. The Rams go balls out, you know, get the best player at every position and then go for it. And it's either make or break, right? The Niners have a sustainable thing where they might not always make the sexy trade or the sexy signing, but the team as a whole and the depth is so great. How important is it to keep Adam Peters and Carthon in this building as long as possible?
Yeah, it's massively important. So real quick, shout out to this front office. Shout out to John Lynch, Executive of the Year. Listen, I know he's had his ups and downs. When he first came in, he's a rookie GM. He's still learning. He made some mistakes. Nobody's perfect, but they've been nailing the drafts. He's brought in some great players over the years. Free agency, the special teams he fixed this year. Brought in Odom, who's an All-Pro second team. He brought in Ray McLeod, who's really been a dynamic return man. Oren Burks, he could play special teams. He's had to fill in with injuries to the linebackers at times. So CMC trade speaks for itself. The draft has been great. But I feel like him and Peters are a package duo. Like John Lynch is the voice. He's the guy that talks. He can sell snow to an Eskimo, talk his way out of a paper bag. Like he's the guy that can talk. He's so good at that. Like, man, when he speaks, it's great. But Peters, he's that brawn. He's the brain. He's the draft scout, the talented, guy. Ron Carthon, he does great. The pro player development type guy. I would hate to lose any of them. But I would really hate to lose Peters because he's been with this team for many years. I think it was nice when he, turned down those interviews because he might go back and circle the wagon and look at those interviews down the line. But I think it really speaks volumes of this team is they have a goal they want to hit. When John Lynch was the appointed GM, when him and Kyle took over, I remember that speech. They looked so young back then.
Didn't they?
He goes, this is our goal. We want to bring in the right people. He goes, sometimes we might not be perfect, but everything he said basically is coming to fruition. He says, we want to bring in the right people, yada, yada, yada. And you're right. They've cultivated such a strong sense of family, and the way they bring talent, it's not through buying people. Like you said, the Rams might have some of the best players and stuff, but so do the 49ers, but they develop them. It's all
That's right.
talent. Look at the all pros they got today. All right. George Kittle is the second round, Hufanga, Fred Warner, and Trent Williams. Obviously, Trent Williams was brought in for a trade, but Fred Warner, homegrown talent. Hufanga, homegrown talent. Kittle, homegrown talent. Like, it's incredible. George Odom, he was traded in, or he was signed this offseason as a free agent. Like, that's what this team does. So Lynch and Peters, they need each other. The talk of, is Lynch going to go? Is Lynch going to go? I don't see it. I think he wants, again, he was a rookie GM, and his goal is to add that championship as a GM. He did it as a player. He's a Hall of Famer. Now he wants to be a Hall of Fame GM. I mean, I think Peters knows eventually there's going to be a time where they can move him into GM because he's done so great as a GM, but I think he's content with where he's at. The 49ers give him a great niche. He's so good at talent evaluation. If he ever wanted a GM job, he can go get it. But I think he's happy with this. Matt Mayoka made a good point. But I think the guy that would eventually leave, I kind of got some inside information. I can't tell you everything, but Parag Marathi might, because they do have a soccer team or football team, Leeds United. I can see him going to Leeds, taking over there, and then maybe eventually Lynch can kind of segue into the president of 49ers Enterprises, and that would open the door for Peters to take the GM spot. I don't think it'll happen anytime soon, and I think their goal right now is to win the Super Bowl. And if they do, then they can all sit down at the table, and the executives are going to say, hey, look, these are the opportunities I have. I got to make the best decision. But their goal right now is to win a Super Bowl. And if they don't, I think they all come back until they can make that goal come true. Because Lynch has told us, my goal when I became the GM is to win a Super Bowl. So I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. He turned down big money from Amazon to stay.
Big money, huge money.
Yeah.
Like FU money, like money where you could set your family up for multiple generations money.
I turned it down.
He's
I wouldn't have
competitive.
either. I would have been like, where do I sign?
He's competitive. He wants that Lombardi trophy as a GM. He got it as a player. He wants it as a GM. And you know what? I think Peter, I mean, let's be honest, GMs and head coaches, they don't like talking to the media. They have to talk. It's part of the position. They talk to the media, answer. But if they can avoid the media, they would, right? Well, John Lynch is the mouthpiece. But Peter, he's a brain. Peter is already doing what he would do as a general manager for any other team. He's getting already compensated, but getting paid well to do what he does. He already has that responsibility. This is why he turned out because he wants to accomplish something with John Lynch. They work well together. Last year they pursued him and he didn't go anywhere. Now the other gentleman, what's his name? Ron. I don't want to lose him either, but I'm going to be a little biased. He is a minority coach, so we get 2 more third-round picks for him. I'm good with that. Keep bringing those third-round picks. I think the Niners lead the league in getting third-round picks for coaches of minority. So,
well, does that with front office? Does that count?
Yeah, you get one.
You get one.
Remember Mayhew? We got Mayoka? One because when he went to Detroit, we got one for him.
Mayhew, yeah.
So
right.
Yeah, so not 2, but 1. Coaches so when DeMeco Ryan goes, we get 2. We got Anthony Lynn in the wings. We develop him, bring him in. He goes. That's wings. 2 more. That's I'm telling you. I'm looking at these coaches are like, hey, who do we got? you know what I mean?
That's why they traded for CMC because they got all these
and they still have a bunch of comp picks coming into this year's draft. They have no first or second, football. But they have like a gazillion third and fifths.
Yeah, they got some from Salah. They got some from McDaniel. Like they're okay. Get rid of our coaches. We'll just take all these draft picks.
Don't worry, we'll hit on another third round player in a 5th round.
We gave up 4, and we're still going to have about 6 or 7 or 8. We're going to get some for
the Niners have 9 picks, I think, right now.
Yeah, see, this front office is amazing. So I'm going to give it over to Wolf before he beats me up through the computer.
Yeah, Wolf's a tough guy. He knows like martial arts and stuff, so I don't want to mess with him either.
I know I'm starting to get scared. He's looking at me with that look.
Wolf has that quiet confidence, and he knows he can freaking.
Oh, look at Roger. He's a ninja over there.
No, guys, like I said, man, I like to just sit here, soak everything up. That's how I got started in 49ers content, of course, is just sitting there and listening to people. I couldn't get my voice across, so I just sit there and listen, man. I love it. And hearing all the great perspectives, of course, man. But like you guys said, I mean, you guys touched on basically everything. John Lynch, his competitive nature, I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon unless he's getting a promotion in this organization. Now, when it comes to Adam Peters, I love it, dude. Shout out to him. Him and his wife, I believe, are 49er fans that grew up in California. So that was probably part of it. But yeah, I just love it overall, man, because the more we can do to keep this staff together, the better. Because like you guys said, all those guys we hit on that are homegrown in the 3rd round, 5th round, all that stuff, 7th round, last pick of the draft. And I want more of that. I think these guys as well would love to build a legacy, a dynasty, which is really hard to do in this day and age. You know, back when we did it, it was, you know, we
Pre-salary cap era.
Yeah, we got hit with the salary cap and all that stuff. So now it's so much harder to do. Whatever we can do to get that done, I'm all for it. And shout out Adam Peters, man, for being a homer.
Yeah, this Niners organization, I hearken back to the Steelers of the last however many years. The Steelers, no matter what, have always fielded a competitive team for like decades. They most recently, I think, one of their front office guys finally retired. This is kind of what I want the Niners to cultivate. I want to cultivate a team that'll be competitive, not just for 2 or 3 years, but like 10 years, decades. You know, always have certain people in the front office. You groom people, elevate them, you know, and you always have this like line of people always going to the organization. And then the building through the draft. Building through the draft is the best way to keep a playoff and Super Bowl winning team window open a lot longer than blowing all your wad on freaking like 3-4 players. And then if the coach decides to go, they all retire and now you suck. And you have no draft picks to rebuild. So.
And then Jed York incentivized them, man, pay them whatever the hell they want.
He needs, after what happened with Harbaugh, I don't think he has much of a choice.
No, his dad,
he screwed the pooch on that one.
This job, you better figure it out. So yeah, he's really fixed his ways a little bit, 100%. And Lynch has been a savior, man. I love Lynch. He needs to be executive of the year. But yeah, shout out to Adam Peters. I agree. I mean, he knows he could get that job if he could do the interview with his ears plugged, his eyes closed, his mouth taped. They'll give him his work speaks for itself. Look at the guys he's saying. George, Dre Greenlaw.
I was just gonna say Dre Greenlaw.
Freaking Talanoa Hufanga. Like all these guys they get in the late round, man. It's Brock Purdy, 7th round pick.
The signing of Deshaun Gibson.
Yeah.
Was one of the best signings we made in the offseason. A veteran, nobody thought about safety. That forced Jimmy Ward to play slot where he doesn't want to play because we wanted to keep all the best players on the field. Yeah, this team has done everything but win the Super Bowl, and then that's kind of like the end goal. That would be the piece of resistance. Real quick, score predictions, and then we'll get out of here. I'm going to go 49ers 31, Seattle 14.
I like it. It's a little bit more than I have, but I think it's going to be close to start. Niners will pull away. They'll get a big turnover. And my bold prediction, and I don't know if he's going to play the whole game or not, but, you know, we've been talking about cornerbacks. Deommodore Lenoir, if he plays and if he starts, he's making the game sealing or game winning. He's going to make a big play. Deommodore Lenoir. I don't know.
I love it.
Lenoir Jenkins might play because he did get elevated. But if Lenoir's playing, I got him making the big play. That's my bold prediction for the week. But I got the 49ers winning 27-10. Book it, baby.
Damn. Even better for me.
No, sorry, not 10, 17. Sorry, it's a 10-point bit. 27-17. 27-17.
Well, I'm really excited about this game. So my prediction for this game, and don't make fun of me, Wolf. I'm taking the Niners 38-10 to kick Seattle's ass right back to Washington.
Yes. Go ahead, Wolf. I don't know if you can follow that up.
Oh my God.
What the hell?
Follow that up, Wolf. Follow that up.
That was my original score prediction that Raj had, was the 27-17. Oh man, I still think it could very much be that, maybe 27-16. I think maybe only give the Seahawks, they might only get one touchdown, especially, due to the rain. So I could say 27-16, I would think, like Raj said. And Beto said, in the beginning, probably a close game. 49ers separate themselves. And hopefully Diamador Lenore gets that pick 6 to seal the game and shut up all the casual fans.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, shut your ass up.
That's what happened, because I don't know if you saw his Twitter. So I think somebody posted it or not, but if you look at his Twitter, look at all his recent posts. It's like all negative comments directed towards the. So he's waiting. He wants to prove himself. Like, I was laughing. I was like, damn, this guy's looking at the tabs and all these fans. Like, it was like, he's dog water. He's trash. He's not gonna get it done, or da 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 da. Like, it's like a row of 10 tweets of all these negative comments. He's waiting. I hope he play, man. I want to see it, because they've been trashing him. Yes, he's played pretty bad these last 2 weeks, but not the whole game. He's played solid through the season. He's made big. He had a few bad series, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I talked with Eric Davis yesterday, and we were talking about it. And he agrees that the AJ Green stuff now wasn't huge, but he did push.
It was
veteran. He's like a 10+ year veteran. Lenore is a second year. He's not gonna get that call. He's not gonna get that call. He pushed off.
The more you watch that, the pass interference offensively is so. It's right there. He straightens his arms out. Even if it's a little bit, you still pushed him.
Yeah.
He pretty much hoisted himself up on his back and was like, ah. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, when you're a vet like that, you're not going to get the call, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But who won that game still?
We did.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Appreciate it. Raj, I wish I could have you on all the time. You're freaking awesome.
Hey, whenever you want, man.
You're my key to real answers, because you have connections. Just kidding.
Hey, any one of you guys, if you ever want me on your show, just DM me, and Aaron, I'll make it work.
Right, he does.
Raj,
he makes
I've been DMing you for the last 2 years. You don't respond.
You?
No, just kidding. I'm kidding.
If you
he jokes all the time.
I'm kidding.
Instagram, I'm not gonna lie to you. My DMs are just way too crazy. Hit me on Twitter.
I can imagine. You're a busy man.
Yeah. Hit me up on Twitter though. We'll figure something out, man.
And
I was kidding, bro. I was kidding.
Beto and Wolf, awesome, man. Freaking love you guys. Appreciate it so much. Be part of this Friday fiasco that we do. We got to come up with a name for the Friday show that involves all three of our names. What's that?
I like the Friday fiasco.
Friday fiasco. But then it makes it sound like we suck and we're just talking a bunch of trash and not knowing what we're talking about. So we got
to 49er fiasco.
The three dummies that talk football.
The big redhead, the tatted OG, and the ass kicker named Wolf. I got to think of it.
No.
Guy's a freaking straight up mauler, man. I wouldn't want to mess with him, but no, I'm just playing. Thanks again for the chat. You guys have been great. For everybody that's been in here that I haven't freaking pretty much connected with it. This has been one of those streams where I just really wanted to listen to the people talk and see if they have the same mindset as I do. And guys, I can't wait for tomorrow. Beto, we got the NWO stream on Monday. Hopefully, well, we will be talking about a win. How about that? So
yeah, you got it.
That's what I'm talking about.
And we'll
West Side.
And when we talk next Friday, we'll be talking about the divisional playoff matchup that we'll be going into next Friday. So or next weekend.
Against who you guys think we're going against in the next round?
Giants.
Yeah, they're gonna.
No, we're gonna beat. We need the Vikings to win because this. Listen, if the Cowboys do get past the Tampa Bay, then the Cowboys are either the Cowboys or the Eagles are going to cancel each other out, right? We beat the Vikings, so all we do is got to play one of those teams once instead of playing the Cowboys and
the Eagles.
Bye, Raj.
Uh-oh.
I was just told by Mariah that no one has the same mindset as me. That's freaking messed up. No, I'm just kidding. You're probably right because I'm pretty screwed up.
We balance each other out, bro. We got your back,
right.
man.
Right, exactly.
But,
all right,
yeah.
everybody. Everybody take care. We'll talk to you guys Monday, next Friday, whenever.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Raj, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you guys next time.
Niner gang.
Let's go. Let's get that dub.